Good morning, I'm Ko Jin Hao and my supervisor is Ms. Noor Hidayah. Today, I'll be presenting my proposal defense with the topic of level of risk management implementation among contractors in Malaysia construction industry. Here's my chapter 1. Moving on to the chapter 2, which is literature review. Construction industry is defined as an economic activity that encompasses the entire construction process, from the processing of raw and manufactured building materials and components to the execution of physical work on site and the procurement of professional services such as architecture and project management. A construction project involves many parties. They are the employers, architects, contractors, quantity surveyors, engineers, and others. IODG states that all construction parties are required to cooperate collaboratively throughout the construction process in order to produce a successful construction. Construction is a long, complex, and challenging process. Hence, it is undeniable that risk does not exist. Risk is a circumstance in which when a building operation is carried out, its outcome is uncertain. To deal with the risk in a project, risk management can be used. The implementation of an effective risk management is regarded as one of the most important elements in the success of a project. Risk management process is defined as phases of risk management, namely identification, analysis, evaluation, response, monitoring, and control, that address every hazardous incident that happened by an escalation mechanism consisting of factors, occurrence, and effects. There are 5 steps in risk management process: risk identification, risk analysis, risk evaluation, risk response, and risk monitoring. The first step is risk identification. Risk identification is a process where potential risk will be recognized in a construction project. The aim of risk identification is not to predict future risks perfectly, but to identify possible risks that may put a serious impact on the project. Furthermore, risk identification is also known to be the most crucial step among the 5 steps in risk management process. The skill of the Delphi technique, interviews, brainstorming, experiential knowledge, outputs from risk-oriented analysis, and risk register are required in this stage to identify possible risk. The second step is risk analysis. Risk analysis is a process where the risks identified during the risk identification stage are being analyzed and categorized through qualitative method or quantitative method. Qualitative methods often detect the chances of a risk occurring and the seriousness and the severity of the risk in a verbal approach, such as using probability impact metrics. Quantitative method uses a mathematical or statistical approach to analyze the regularity and possibilities of the risks, and techniques such as the sensitivity analysis, scenario analysis, probabilistic analysis, and decision trees. The third step is risk evaluation. Risk evaluation is the process of evaluating and grouping the risks with the data and discoveries of experienced personnel or companies based on the seriousness and the frequency of the risks occurring after the risk analysis. The risks will be ranked accordingly to provide a comprehensive view of the risk exposure for the organization. According to Kang, decisions can be made after the evaluation based on whether the risks are tolerable or not. The decisions are taken as to which path the organization can take in order to confront the risk. The fourth step is risk response. Risk response, also known as risk treatment, is where efficient risk mitigation steps are taken to curb the impact of the risk before or when they occur. According to Kumar, there are 8 risk mitigation steps that are used during a risk response stage. They are risk avoidance, risk transfer, risk mitigation, risk exploit, risk share, risk enhance, risk acceptance, and contingency plan. The last step of risk management process is risk monitoring. Risk monitoring, also known as risk review, is a process of recording and tracking the adequacy and any progression to the project risk profile after executing the risk mitigation sections. This step concludes the risk management process if there are no changes of risk on the project, which requires reanalyzing. The risks are being monitored, controlled, and reviewed for future references to ensure the continuity of risk management. The level of risk management implementation in developing and developed countries are analyzed through literature reviews from different articles. First, we look at the developing countries. For Iran, there is insufficient understanding and comprehension of the application of risk management. Hence, the level of risk management implementation is considered low. While in Qatar, the lack of knowledge in risk prevention and alleviation strategies are one of the issues. The author Harp also states that the level of risk management implementation is low. For Pakistan, there are two most effective risk management techniques and remedial management techniques used. Medium level of risk management is considered in the Pakistan. Now, there's also another case where a study is conducted by Reza, which show that the risk management is not appropriately emphasized and is not deemed to be one of the priorities for the production of project in the countries of Pakistan and Iran. Low level of risk management is considered here. And a study is conducted by Adeleke, which shows that the level of risk management implementation is at medium level in Nigerian construction companies. Now, looking at developed countries such as UK, there are some of the public sector which already recognize the risk management and implemented it within the organization. Various techniques are used to identify risks, such as information gathering techniques, interviewing, brainstorming, Delphi technique, and root cause analysis. UK construction has the problem of poor documentation, lack of expertise and skills, and absence of awareness. It can be seen that the problem in the UK was stated by the author in the number 8 is on the year 2015, while the authors on number 6 and 7 is on year 2016 and 2020. It can be seen that the UK has been developing risk management to a medium level from time to time. Right, moving on, we are looking at the level of implementation of risk management in Malaysia through the literature reviews. According to a case study done by Hamza, there is a case where the project manager argued that they do not require risk management and they do not want to waste time evaluating risks of the project. The project manager instead uses checklists and standards accredited by International Standard Operation, which is ISO 9000, and claimed to have unintentionally performed risk management technique in the construction industry. The project was subsequently delayed for 3 months with the low implementation of risk management. Project manager states that the reason for this delay is due to technical drawings problem. He believes that if they had a formal risk management planning, they would not have faced such risk. Looking at another case where the site engineer of a project used critical path method, which is CPM, and S-curve in the construction of a 11-story block. The project team used S-curve to monitor the project as it progresses. He mentioned that the S-curve is being used as an indicator in identifying risks, and by using this, they can determine whether the project can be completed within the time and budget limitations. If there is delay, CPM will be analyzed and help to catch up on the delay activity. Another case study is where one of the government projects have implemented risk management successfully through the workshop which involved all stakeholders and risks in the project were identified, controlled, monitored, and responded with full preparations. Not only that, Adaleke conducted a research using surveys and it showed that the risk management process is well applied within the construction industry in Kelantan, Malaysia. There are some of the project managers who use SWOT analysis on every construction activity, weekly as risk identification. SWOT analysis can aid project team in identifying project risks. This analysis is planned and established at the beginning phase of the project, and this tool will be updated with the current information during weekly meeting. SWOT analysis outlines the use of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. From these few case studies, it can be seen that the implementation of risk management is fairly medium, but it is dependent on the project manager and the methods or techniques he uses for. The challenges in implementing risk management are analyzed through the literature reviews. The first one being the poor communication attitude among contractors. Then the next is lack of guideline, lack of information, the cost of implementation, unwillingness to learn new management method, lack of government policy and regulations, lack of expertise, lack of top management support, lack of resources, and time consuming. And here's the schedule Gantt chart for my dissertation 1, and thank you for listening.